Hello, and welcome to Optimized, a marketing performance podcast brought to you by the Multifamily Media Network. I'm Janet Rosseth, your host and a 25-year veteran of multifamily marketing. This podcast is going to challenge you to reach 1% better somewhere in your daily life, and optimizing is how we'll do that together. Whether it's bringing your personal best to your work and life, building efficient work processes, uncovering new trends, or making sense of meaningful data, we'll dig in together and find that 1%. Hey friends, welcome to another episode of Optimized, a marketing performance podcast brought to you by the fabulous Multifamily Media Network. I'm Janet Rosseth, your host and 25-year veteran of multifamily marketing. And Optimized is here to just help you find 1% better in your daily life, whether it's personal, professional. We're here to help you find that. And I am just thrilled today to have guest Jennifer Carter on. And our mission today is really to wrap up this fantastic year of 2024 in all things Multifamily Media Network. Super excited to hear everything Jennifer's got to say. If you haven't met her, I'll let her introduce herself in a second, but she has been along this journey since the very first moments of conceptualization of the Multifamily Media Network. And I don't think everybody knows the story or the mission or the sheer volume of hosts and guests and content coming out. And there are just so many really cool moments that have been captured in 2024. And I wanted Jennifer to come on and recap them with me. So if you're just queuing up this session and it happens to be the end of December, or whenever you're running it, it's a great time to listen in and maybe queue some things up for the holidays when you're taking your time off. So Jennifer, will you introduce yourself?
I sure will. I am the VP of Marketing and Sales for Multifamily Media Network. Give you maybe a little high-level overview of my experience, and then we'll kind of tee into the network. But I've been in the industry for 15 or so years now. Primarily, I would say 70% of my time on the supplier side, and then a little bit of time actually on the property management side as a director of marketing. So I've had lots of experience specifically in the marketing realm and world, and I am passionate about people, customer service, experience, and all things marketing.
I have loved following your LinkedIn page and posts and just the work that you do. I come purely from the operator side. I've always been on the operator side, always supporting a portfolio and the marketing and the leasing mission, but seeing your work on the supplier side, and I would categorize you as one of the most savvy and scrappy marketers out there, because you just an idea is born and it's done in the same moment. It just blows my mind the way that you put so much together for this network and for other projects that you're working on. But take us back to the beginning of Multifamily Media Network. It's been a year, right? It launched in January.
Well, yeah, about that. But I think the idea, to your point, kind of conceptualized from our co-founders, Mike Brewer and Paul Marks. And they conceptualized, as a matter of fact, they conceptualized it back in November of 2023. And it was both gentlemen rather, were at the Innovation Summit last year, and they came together. And they thought this idea of, creating a network to ultimately build up future leaders. I will have to say, and I have to quote Mike Brewer because he does share it often, but ultimately him and Paul will disperse and go elsewhere after so many years of this industry, but truly wanted to give back. And partly why I joined the network was because I believe in the mission of ultimately building up future leaders, giving them and inspiring them information, education. And that's really what this network is really about. So we did formally, I guess you could say, were born in February of 2024. And we really are just an opportunity and a place and a group of exceptional podcast hosts that have come together to share their expertise. And you're obviously one of those people, Janet, right?
We've got to be invited. And I had no idea what I was getting into. And you guys were not only very supportive and convincing, but you were really honest too. And like, hey, we're just getting rolling. Like,
yeah,
not really sure where it's going to lead, but wow, what a year.
Yeah, we've had a great year. We started with, I want to say it was maybe only 4 or 5 podcast hosts. And we've now grown to 20, which is absolutely insane. But we are proud that each of our hosts have a niche, right? They are really an expert in their field of the industry. And this industry has a vast wide of information from marketing to leasing, right? To maintenance. Even Katie Spillers recently joined our network in advocacy and legislation. And there is a space that we have
PropTech with Shelley's
created.
new podcast. Yeah, you're covering it all.
Yes. Yeah, we are. We're covering it all. And so we've curated just this wide group of folks who really have the opportunity to leverage their voice. And that's what we want to be, as a platform for these hosts to leverage their voice, their expertise. Excuse me. And ultimately, we have in the industry, I feel like we have this next generation coming in to our space, whether you want to call them Generation Z, X, Y, I don't know, whatever they're called these days, but they are searching and wanting information, right? They want to grow and learn. And as folks like yourself, we want to be able to give back and give that platform to those folks that are the next emerging leaders in the industry.
Right. And I think it's fascinating too, just not just the mission that you put out there for hosts and to find hosts that fit your goals for the network, but guests too. Tell me about guests and how you've really inspired all of us to go out and find new guests. And you've even created a hub where guests can come to the media network and then you place them.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, there's a twofold there, right? And I think that's part of the opportunity, right, is to be a guest and to have a platform for your voice. So we do encourage our hosts to they might have connections, they might be introduced to somebody, whether that's at an event locally or nationally, but ultimately yeah, I am the one. If there are folks that are interested in being on one of the podcasts, we have a form you can fill out. You can find that form on our website, and we would take your suggestion of what you would like to do, but ultimately we like to find somebody that matches exactly what your vision is, what you're passionate about, what you ultimately want to share with the industry, and then we will kind of do a little matchmaking, right? We'll find the right host that aligns with you and have that opportunity to be able to reach the audience in a way that is great and most received. I think the one caveat to know is that all of our hosts are on Spotify, Apple, YouTube, and really any other syndicated location of where you might listen to your podcast. So we are everywhere
You
that
are
you are
everywhere.
listening.
Definitely.
Yeah.
It's fun. I mean, of course, I follow the Multifamily Media Network on my Spotify channel because I'm always listening for what's coming next. And I don't know what's dropping next. I mean, you have this all formatted so well that some of us drop on Monday, some drop on Tuesday, some drop on Wednesday. And
Yeah.
every week is like a little gift for me too. Because I open that app and I'm like, who recorded something today? And
Yeah.
get in there and listen to other hosts and learn some other things. And I mean, I'm just going to share with you that I would not have been exposed to near as much information had I not joined this group this year. Like the maintenance podcasts are so
So
good.
good.
That is not at all
So
my
good.
wheelhouse, but so valuable. And, Mike's, I always listened to Mike Brewer's in the last few years.
Sure.
He's just always delivered such good content, but I
Yeah.
truly never knew Paul Marks
Yeah.
and listen to his content. So that's been fantastic. And Suzanne Hobson and Paul Marks combined, their first few episodes right out of the gates had me like, wow, these guests
Yeah.
are incredible. And I would never have known them. The sheer volume of new people that I follow on social media, on LinkedIn, because of the Multifamily Media Network is just a testament right there.
Yeah, and I think to your point, right? I think as an industry, there is a lot of voices out there. I think that ultimately one of our kind of goals or missions is to give the people that don't have the typical reach, right? Or maybe is afraid to step out or would like to take a chance and have that opportunity. And we want to be that, right? We want to give them the opportunity, the platform to share their voice because there is so much out there. And whether that's a property manager, right? Whether that's a regional, whether that's we actually had a gentleman who's a maintenance supervisor and he wrote a book and he had the opportunity to come on with Chris Carmonica, right? And so there's just opportunities that are out there that we can give the platform to those future leaders and give back and share that with more than maybe just their immediate circle, right? We can elevate
Absolutely.
and really give a bigger voice there.
Yeah, it's been
Yeah.
so great. And Optimized, my podcast, and the whole theme behind it is really about, I have a theory that perfection gets in the way of progress, right?
Yes.
And
Yes.
that's why I named it Optimized, because I really wanted to talk more about just how to continue to improve. You don't have to come to the table being the best right away,
Yes.
right?
Yep.
Everybody's got some little component to their style of doing things that can help you optimize the way you do things. And I think that that's one of the things that's really cool about the network and the guests and the hosts that are on here is we didn't all come as podcast experts. Like, I had
That's right.
no idea what I was doing. I still don't. Like a total novice. I trip over things all the time. Like, I love that Ronald Harrington, when you come on Ronald's show, he's straight up like, we're just going to hit record. We're not
Yeah.
practicing. This is just like a leasing tour. This is not scripted.
Yes. I love that. I
That
love
is
that.
the beauty of this cool reach is that it is so authentic and real. And it is just real people in multifamily coming together and sharing voices.
Yeah, I think that's the greatest piece, right? Is and I think the other side to the network and how it's was formed and maybe the other side of the coin is we really are taking also the opportunity to partner with some, and I hate the term, I know it's been thrown around a lot, but suppliers, right? We like to say partnerships. But those folks in the industry, we have some founding folks that are still with us from 2024 when we kicked off. Wide Whale was one of those folks at Folio, the Guarantors, Chadwell Supply, AppWork. All of these folks jumped on with us in the very beginning, and they honestly have also helped make it extremely, what it is today. But that partnership really also allows those folks to really grow their reach, right? And share their knowledge because I think we've all talked about this, Janet, right? As an industry, like we're really not on one side or the other, right? We are
Right.
in this together and all sharing information from all sides of the coin of how our industry works. And so I love the opportunity to be able to partner, with these suppliers and partnerships, whether it's been in 2024 or we've got some new
Yeah.
folks coming to join us in 2025 as well. But it's been great to be able to work with them. They've joined our podcast. They've created some content that we've been
Yes.
able to push out. And so that's been fun too.
It's been fantastic content too. And for those who joined podcast episodes, gosh, it's been amazing conversations, amazing content that really serves the industry. They're not coming on as a demo, they're coming on as like leaders and experts of their specific topic of expertise. And it's been so beneficial to learn.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's great. So yeah, we've come a long way. We've got some new great things coming for 2025. We can't share all of them yet, but I will say there is two that we can share. And one would be we are continuing to strengthen our partnerships with Retcon and Blueprint. We were at Blueprint last year and we will be at Blueprint this year for 2025 in I think it's November. I can't remember. It's in the fall. So we are super excited to partner there. We'll be hosting some roundtables. We'll be sharing some other great opportunities for folks to join us in the conversations in Vegas. And then we'll also be in Vegas in March, partnering with Retcon as well. So we're super excited. Several of our hosts will be there bringing back content, right? Whether that's podcasting, blogging, sharing what's happening on the floor, and having some great conversations. So we are super excited to at least announce or share more information about both of those for 2025.
That's what excites me most about this whole network is just the network behind it and the coverage of the micro moments that happen out there, not just at the big conferences, but just the day to day.
Yeah.
And even like you see all these little micro moments happening at the more regional conferences, or even this pop up of these little meetups. And it's bringing news to the industry in the way that people want to find it. Some people want to come and read blogs and share
Yep.
them with the people in their organization. Some people are, I've always been a podcast junkie, so I love listening to things in my
Do you listen
downtime.
while you run? That's the question.
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah. Sometimes I do need a good beat and some good music, but I'm out every morning walking my dog, and anytime I get in the car, it's usually a podcast I listen to.
I
I
love
listen to
it.
podcasts while I get ready in the morning, sometimes just to sort of fire my brain up and get things
Yeah.
going. Yeah, I love the diversification. I feel really sad to say that some of my usual podcasts that I used to listen to, I was a big fan of, Smartless and Entree Leadership and just some
Yeah.
some bigger names, like they're gone. Like I just kind of stay within the Multifamily Media Network because there's so much there. I learned
We
so
are,
much
we are.
to know everybody.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, we are really, again, to your point, trying to really, I don't want to say diversify, right? But ultimately create something, because again, the industry is so large, right? You've got affordable, you have marketing, you have student housing, you have maintenance, and even within maintenance, right? Like we have quite a bit of folks in the maintenance realm, but they're very different lenses, right? Chris Carmonica is the VP of facilities at Win, and his perspective is a little bit different, right, than Paul Rhodes, where he's a little bit more tactical, right? I feel like Paul Rhodes, if I need to like learn how to like, I don't know, turn a wrench on an HVAC system, I would totally go dig up something because he would tell me how to
Yeah.
do that.
And
So
then
we
you've got
really
Mark
want
Sharp,
to.
who's more on the like people side of it, right?
Yes, exactly, exactly. So we really are, we've been intentional in creating opportunities for, again, the industry and bringing people together to have conversation. I think that's really what
Yeah.
it comes to. So it's
So
been a full, fun year.
talk to me about your favorite moments of the year. You must have so many, but like what are some of
Okay,
the
well,
highlights? Some of the things that you didn't expect that came out of it?
wait a minute. Before I answer that, the original question you just asked, the first thing that came to mind was the swag. I'm a
Yeah,
sucker for
the
swag.
swag.
So
If you're
I,
watching this, listeners, if you're only listening, you're not seeing this, but
that's
when you
true.
get a chance, come and look on screen because Jennifer and I are both wearing
That's
our
right.
MMN Multifamily Media Network hoodies. And you picked these out and delivered them, and I'm telling you, like, it is absolutely my favorite hoodie. One of the best quality hoodies.
I love it. I love it. So I don't know if that's unexpected for the year, but it is a highlight for me because I am a good sucker for swag. So
Ditto.
I do love swag. And of course we'll have some at some shows next year, so make sure to find us. But I think honestly, a moment for me, and this might be personal, I guess, but really it's just creating something from scratch, right? Like it is a wild ride, and when you love it and it's not really work and it's fun. Personally, also for me, I'm a big proponent of allowing stage for other people. I originally hosted a podcast with Sharon 8 Stories. I did step away just because ultimately for me, I wasn't really, I had a lot going on, and I wanted to be filling my bucket, as I tell my kids, not draining my bucket. And for me, I filling my bucket is giving the stage to other people, and that to me is super fulfilling of providing stages to podcast hosts that have the voice and the knowledge and the expertise to others. So I have been super surprised or excited or happy, I should say, that each one of you, including yourself, have been excited to take the step with us and take the journey. And starting again from 4 or 5 podcasts to 20 has been just overwhelmingly fun
Well,
in
may
every
I just
aspect.
fill your bucket by telling you that you are incredibly good at helping others find that stage because it's a little intimidating. It's a little overwhelming,
Yeah.
and you make it so easy. And you're such a good support system and cheerleader in the back end of all these systems that help us take these live. And I know I am for sure one of them that I don't give you a whole lot of time to turn these things around, and you get them pushed out.
No, that's yeah, and
You are a wrangler of hosts.
I am a wrangler of hosts. Yes, I am. And on that note, one of the things we are working towards in 2025 or in the works of is exactly along those lines is really supporting the host, right? Giving the host the opportunity, whether that's at speaking engagements, whether that's local things, whatever that presence may be. We want to be able to continue to give that stage to the host. As a matter of fact, several of our hosts have submitted for NAA this year, or for 2025. So we are very excited to continue to be that platform. Yeah, I think that's really a moment for me is allowing folks like you and everybody else to have the stage and use your voice for what you guys are such subject matter experts about. Because there's no way that I could do that.
You do a really good job with the piece that you carry for us. You carry a huge, heavy load of getting this all off the ground. What has surprised you the most?
Let's see. I would say, I mean, I don't know if it's a huge surprise, but it is quite a bit of a surprise of like how quickly our reach has grown, right? In such a short amount of time. It just shows that the industry is it has a need, right? For what we're doing. And so I guess I didn't really anticipate the growth to be so rapid or accelerate at such a quick pace. All of our hosts combined have over 100,000 followers, which is crazy.
It's
Um,
crazy.
Super, super crazy. We have over 5,000. These are just numbers. I'm sure they're higher as I haven't even looked today, but over 5,000 YouTube subscribers, right? The average amount of time people find our podcasts, when they're looking for something in Spotify has grown rapidly. Just the sheer knowledge that we are reaching people at such a quick pace is kind of mind-boggling to me, right? And it's warm and heartwarming for me as well. But I don't know if I had expected that maybe kind of coming into starting something like this.
It's exciting. And again, I'll say it again, like just going out to Spotify and going not just to an individual podcast, like rather than going to just the optimized podcast. I
Yes.
appreciate that you do that. Thank you very much. Love it. But go find it on the Multifamily Media Network page and account, because then it's going to be alongside several other podcasts that maybe you would not have found on your own. But hit play and see what happens, because there's just good stuff out there.
Yeah, I think as a matter of fact, you alluded to it earlier of every day. If I'm not mistaken, 4 out of the 7 days we have 2 podcasts dropping a day, right? So we
Yeah.
are not shy of content. If you're looking for something, we've got something almost every single day that might pique your interest, learn something new, and find something that maybe you want to send to a friend, right? Or somebody else in the industry that might need this information, as well. And I've done that even myself. I think a good kind of funny, quick story is I was mentoring a marketing gal up north. And I was like, oh, you should really check out Janet's podcast. And she's like, I know Janet. Yeah, let me follow her. So
Yeah,
it
we've
was
had
really
several
great.
moments where we've connected on people that came through our system, and it's like, oh yeah, I've already talked to her, and like we've been meaning to connect for a long time, so now you just rebooted it again.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
absolutely
Yeah, I've
fabulous.
done the same thing, and you and I both consult, right? So I
Yeah.
find
Yep.
myself often sharing podcast episodes with clients or people in my network that are outside of the work that I do, but are like, hey, I remember you talking about this, or I remember this is a
Okay.
subject important to you. Have you listened to this? You should
That's
totally
right.
subscribe on this one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. I think we all are our own best advocates, right? And I don't mean just with the network. I just mean, as somebody in this industry, right? Everybody's ears are always to the ground. And when you hear something that somebody else might need, this is a great opportunity to be able to share the information that the network's able to provide through all of these hosts, on a daily or a weekly basis.
definitely. I'm going to share with you just a couple of my favorite moments throughout the year,
Yeah, let's hear it.
because I have to highlight them, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
The first one was probably AIM. That was the first time that I have met Ronald Harrington in person. And I mean, he is just as much energy in person as on his podcast. And that was really cool to come around the corner and like, we're both carrying our Multifamily Media Network t-shirts. We swore we were going to get a picture in them for you and never did. But just the moment of being able to come together on those was really cool. Another one was Apartmentalize with
Oh,
a whole batch of us. You put together that whole meetup in person in the Podcast Palooza. And I don't know what your expectation was originally on that podcast Palooza or what you thought you were going to pull off with it, but damn, girl, that place was packed.
we had a
That
great
rooftop
time.
venue and the in-person podcasting. Tell me about your expectations versus reality on that one, because from the outside
I
lens, it was like, whoa.
So I don't want to say I had low expectations because I do like to shoot high and I do love a good challenge. Like, give me a challenge, I will find it, make it happen. Like that's just me, right? Like so I like to fix things that are broken or need a little tweaking. And so I was like, yeah, let's do this. And one of many areas is I do love doing events, right? I love putting them on. I love the thrill, probably in the thrill of knowing something's going to not go right and have to fix it during the event. So, yeah, I just was like, let's do this. And so we reached out to our partners. They were all for it. And I leaned on some other folks in the market to be able to look at the venue because I think that's very important. And so we all came together. I have to say, right? I mean, many of the hosts, including yourself, showed up that day to kind of help put some of the pieces together. We did nail it. I will have to say we've had great feedback, just like you've said, Janet. And there will be one coming 2025. I've yet to find the location and what all the specs will be, but we will be doing the second annual
Yeah.
one in Vegas this year. So yeah, it will be fun. But I think to your point, that's about putting voices in the room,
Yeah.
right? And connecting folks and having conversations that, are authentic and real. And it was a great opportunity, casual, but very successful. So it was fun.
I heard so many people coming up and talking to the host like, oh my gosh, I listened to that episode and that was so great. And I mean, I was still fairly new at that time, and I had people coming up to me like, oh my gosh, I listened to your podcast. I'm like, you're the one.
Yeah. You're real life.
Hit like.
I love that.
I mean, I think I met Ed and Hi there for the first time too, and now he's a podcast host on the network.
Yes,
Right?
that's
Like,
right.
just things brewed from that event that became so cool, and just really, really cool to be in person, and that was so well done.
Thank you.
The other thing that I would say was really, really cool, I have to say, the way that everybody came together after Hurricane Helene.
Yes.
I was so inspired by Mark Sharp's podcast. He jumped on, he interviewed the two people who really run, I can't even remember, the Upper State, North Carolina.
Yeah. Yep. Upper State Associations.
Apartment Association. And I was just so inspired by that. And then everyone kind of came together and started sharing. And I think I caught Mary Gwynn had a couple of episodes that highlighted just moments that happened during that were really awe-inspiring. That was cool. That was an opportunity where our voices really came together for the greater good of not just the industry, but humanity in general. And
yeah,
heartwarming, really cool to be
very
a part of.
heartwarming. Very heartwarming. And I think that's too is the other opportunity we have, right? Especially as a network, is to use our voices for the greater good and to be that megaphone for those folks that need it, right? I kind of thought about you this morning on Good Morning America. They had a segment on where this nonprofit goes in, and they were talking about, North Carolina and the hurricanes, and they committed a year because, to your point, your voices after a couple of months kind of, don't get heard, right? And so they're still continuing to work there, and kind of build things from the ground up. But your voice really started something to amplify what needed to be amplified in this industry. So really kudos to you.
I took a shot at it, but honestly, it was Mark's episode that inspired me. And I'm not sure how many people got a chance to listen to Mark's, but it was, they touched on everything that was needed and that was happening in the area. And that gave me just so much fire to figure out a way to help. And how awesome. I can't tell you how many times I'm a galvanizer by nature. Like, I've got to rally people. I like bringing people together on a goal. And when I heard that, and I was just so impacted by everything I was seeing on the news and just feeling so helpless from Minnesota. And it was like, wait a second. I have a podcast, and it is part of this huge network.
Yeah.
This Multifamily Media Network, and there are listeners and voices everywhere. And if I can just start one tiny little ripple, and it ripples to other hosts who ripple to other hosts and guests,
yes,
what can we do with this?
We can do it. And you did a phenomenal job.
Thank you.
Just giving that platform an opportunity, it does have that ripple effect. So
and from there, you posted so many good resources on the website too. And from there, we hosted an event for my company, Cadence Marketing Solutions, hosted an event in early November, and we kind of pivoted and just put all the ticket proceeds we donated to the Hatching Hope organization. After that. So that was November. It was several months after the hurricane happened, and I still felt like these people still need us. People were still intense as the snow was falling.
Oh yeah. Exactly. Not having water or being cold.
Yeah. And that was all really organic, how that whole thing came together. There wasn't like a great big meeting and mission. It was like Mark started something, and then I carried it, and then so many other hosts stepped in too. So it really makes you think, like, what will we become in 2025 and 2026 as a group of even bigger voices who have so many listeners and so much capability to make change?
Right.
You just don't know. You don't know until something happens what we're capable of.
That's right. Exactly.
Like you said, you love a good challenge. You love a hard left, right?
I do. Well, those are some great ones. I love kind of like reminiscing a little bit of 2024,
I
which is
felt like
which
we
is
needed
great.
to. I felt like we needed to get on and just rehash 2024 a little bit before it rolls into 2025 because
Ugh.
everything moved so fast and you and Mike and Paul and so many people worked so hard to I feel like you pushed the momentum out there and then almost it was like catching up and getting in front of it all at the same time. But
Yeah.
it is so worth reminiscing on and just acknowledging the work that went in behind it and the coverage that the media network has had and the impact that it's making on the industry. I'm grateful that we found the time to jump on here in our
Yeah.
hoodies
Yeah,
to
I
record
know,
this.
right? Always so great.
Yes.
Always so great. Yeah, it's been a fun, exciting year. And, we've got some great surprises and things coming for 2025. And so
Excellent.
it's going to be a great year. I can feel it. I can see it. And,
I can too. I think it's
more.
going to be incredible. I'm excited to meet even more of the hosts in person.
I know, right?
Yeah.
It's like, oh my gosh. It's like when you when you listen to them for so long and then you like actually see them, you're like,
Right?
oh,
I
this
feel
is
like we're besties
amazing. All right.
already. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so I always
Exactly.
ask my guests, and you are one of my guests now too. So I have to ask my guest the ending question that I always throw out there, and that is, it's optimized. We're talking about optimizing, and we're talking about just getting 1% better every day, anywhere that we can. Progress over perfection, right? So you are such a busy, busy person. How do you optimize in your day to day to just achieve 1% better or just survival?
I think I called survival. But I would say I thrive in controlled chaos, right? I'm a doer. And so for me to continue to push that is to be organized, right? I have to be organized in order to be better. That's kind of bleeds personally, professionally with my kids. You come to my house, there's a schedule everywhere. And so in order for me to continue to push that 1%, I do right away so I can, and that's part of my personality is doing it, kind of moving on, checking off that box. But that's how I can continue to get better. I think there's also the other side to that though, is in doing that, I create the space to be able to, let's say, slow down or focus on something, right? So if I'm organized and create that, schedule or whatnot here, I've created the time to invest in listening to a podcast or reading through something or sitting down and creating whatever needs to be to create that 1% better. So maybe I guess overall organization
Yes. Yes.
of my life.
I love that. That's a really good one. Every time I ask this question, the answer is completely different. Nobody has ever
Really?
the same even type of answer. I'm swearing that I'm going to bring together an episode that captures everybody's.
I was just going to say you should write a blog or jot down on LinkedIn like all of the ways everybody goes and gets their 1% better.
They've
It'd
got
be super
incredible
interesting.
answers. Yes, I think I
Just do
told you
that.
when we first started the podcast, and I said I'm going to ask you this question, and I feel like looking from afar and watching you work and watching how much you get done, and I'm just blown away by how fast you get stuff done. I would swear that you were going to come and say like I do it in the moment. I just do it in the moment because I like when
Well,
something comes up during my day, I make a little list either in my note
no,
top
no, no,
or
no, no.
paper. Like I'm a lister. I got to like drop it on my to-do list,
Now,
but I got
I
working
will
on
say,
when
Janet,
I do it.
I am a lister. I am a lister, but the things that I can do right away, you're right. I do
Yes,
right
it's
away.
done. It's like
So
I no more than hit send and Jennifer's post back like done. Like, okay, shoot, I wasn't ready yet.
yeah, you can cross that off your list. That's fine. I do love a good list, though. I will say I do love a good list. But yeah, for me, it's like kind of get in there, check it off, and get it done. With that. So
Yeah,
yeah, it is kind of a running joke of she just kind of checks it off and does it before you can get the next email out. But it's all good.
absolutely. Oh my gosh. Well, this has been such a great conversation. I'm so glad we got to share
Yes,
this moment and just
me too.
reflect on what an incredible year it's been and what an incredible lift and launch it was. Kudos
Yes,
to you and to Mike and to Paul and all the hosts and everybody involved, all the
yes,
sponsors. It's been just quite a journey seeing it all come together and looking forward to 2025.
yes.
So,
Me too.
as an ending, I hope that 2024 you've found some optimization out there, listeners, and you're going to find some optimization going into 2025. And as a result of listening to this podcast, I truly, truly hope that you go find the Multifamily Media Network pages and just inspire yourself to listen to something that you wouldn't normally have hit play on. If you are listening as a marketer, go listen to a maintenance podcast. There's such good information. Go check into Ronald Harrington's podcast. Check into Shelley's new PropTech podcast or Eden's podcast. There's just so much good material out there, and we've got maybe a little break and a little rest coming over the holidays, so find a reason to hit play. Until next time, everybody, have a great ending to 2024. Thanks again for taking time today for this session. I hope you found a bit of inspiration and wisdom to optimize your performance. If you're a marketing influencer, either on the operations or supplier end, be sure to check out Cadence Marketing Solutions and specifically explore our Run Club online community. No actual running is necessary. We've made it our mission to support marketers and lead you to the voices, resources, and tools that impact your success in this fast-paced industry. If you enjoyed this episode, please like, comment, and subscribe. And visit multifamilymedianetwork.com to learn more about our other industry podcasts, thought pieces, and sponsorship opportunities. Until next time, I hope you find that 1% better.